my dear students of first year LLB, both 3-year LLB program and 5-year LLB program. We have to embark upon the study of law. We say a teacher is a perennial student, a lawyer is a perennial student, and the process of learning goes on till the end of our personal life and also the professional life. How we equip ourselves towards this great venture of learning law? What should be the equipment of a law student? When we are perennial students, we have to equip ourselves with the appropriate means and methods. So lawyers have to equip themselves. You being potential lawyers, you have to equip yourselves in order to do well in the chosen avocation. You may become traditional litigating lawyers, you may become corporate lawyers, you may become legal researchers, you may become law academicians, you may join the armed forces, Judge Advocate General's office, you may join the government, you may become administrators, lawmakers. For everything, you should appreciate what is the importance of being a law student or a lawyer. So when men are living in an organized society, disputes are inevitable and disputes affect development at all levels. At the individual levels, they affect the development. At the institutional level also, they affect the development. At the national level, they affect the development. Disputes affect development. If a person wants to live a quality life, you should not run into disputes. When we speak of quality life, I am speaking it in terms of peace at heart. A person who has quality life has peace at heart, and those who are in disputes cannot have peace at heart, and disputes affect development. And here, the lawyers are involved in the process of dispute resolution. They are the people involved in dispute resolution, and that's why they are called peacemakers. And as peacemakers, lawyers have an incomparable role. They have an incomparable role. Theirs is the supreme opportunity to bring relief, creative solutions, peace, and healing to the individuals in a world wherein you have strife everywhere, contention everywhere, fight everywhere, dispute everywhere. So lawyer becomes so relevant, so important, because by resolving disputes, he adds quality dimensions to life. So that's why in the New Testament it is stated, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God." So what we need today in the society is more and more peacemakers. And the lawyers are uniquely positioned to take this role of peacemakers. They have, in the words of Abraham Lincoln, as a peacemaker, a lawyer has a superior opportunity. When we have embarked upon the study of law, we have to understand what is the great opportunity that is presented to us to make difference to the life of others, to make difference to the institutions, and to make difference to the state also. That's why we should understand that we have joined a program which enables us to be active citizens and which enables us to engage in public affairs wherein there can be qualitative difference. And when you graduate from the portals of the law college, you enter the bar associations with great ideals. But therein you have adversarial battle. See, all other professions, they stand together. All professionals, they stand together. And law is the only profession wherein one professional fights against the other professional. Doctors will not fight like liars. Always liars, you have an opponent liar. For a liar, you have an opponent liar in every case. In no other profession, there will be this adversarial style of fighting, but in law, we have this. We have a professional opposing one professional. But despite that, as professionals, if we are holding those professional values to the heart, we will understand that lawyers are not fighting each other. Both of them are fighting for justice. Both of them are fighting for the good of the society, good of the individuals. That's why we have to understand when we take up the study of a professional program, first thing that is necessary is we have to understand what is a profession. What is a profession? You have joined a professional course, and having joined professional course, you have to understand what is a profession. I want to give you some definitions of profession. First, I will take the definition of that great writer Roscoe Pound. He says, professions are callings in which men pursue a learned art and are united in the pursuit of it as a public service, no less a public service because they may earn a livelihood out of it. Look at this definition. Professions are callings in which men pursue a learned art. So, I want to be a professional. First requirement for me is learning. They are the people who are pursuing a learned art and who are united in the pursuit of that learned art as a public service. Professionals are public servants. Professions are for public service. No less a public service because they may earn a livelihood out of it. He has to remember that he is pursuing a learned art for the public service. That's what Roscoe Pound says. And another fascinating definition of a profession is given by Justice Brandeis, the former Justice of the United States of America's Supreme Court. Justice Brandeis has applied three criteria to a profession. First, a profession is an occupation for which the necessary preliminary training is intellectual in character, involving knowledge and to some extent learning as distinguished from mere skill. My dear students, you have to appreciate this line. A profession is an occupation for which the necessary preliminary training is intellectual in character. This is the basic training, preliminary training, necessary training that is intellectual in character. So by the time you complete your 3-year LLB or 5-year LLB, you have to groom yourself in such a powerful manner. And maybe after that also the crusade will continue and you have to create a bastion of knowledge, Please remember, if I want to live as a true professional, I should not thrive on extraneous factors other than this knowledge, intellectual abilities. If I am thriving on any other factor for any other reason, because of my relationship, because of the people whom I know, because of my caste, because of my XYZ affiliations, I tell you it is not a professional success. And in order to be a true professional, the preliminary training is intellectual in character, involving knowledge. You should develop a fort of knowledge, a bastion of knowledge over a period of time. To some extent, it involves skill, but mere skill is not profession. Profession is not a skills-based exercise. Profession is a knowledge-based exercise. Profession is an intellectual exercise. This is what you have to understand, underline, and etch in your heart that I am going to create a bastion of intellectual ability. I am going to create a fort of knowledge, and I want to excel as a professional. That is the first attribute by Justice Brandeis. The second attribute is it is an occupation which is pursued largely for others and not merely for one's self. It is an occupation which is pursued largely for others, not for one's self. Somebody is a law professional not for himself, he is there for others. That's what Roscoe said as public service. Professionals, whether it is medicine, whether it is law, so they are there to serve the public. It is not to serve. Incidentally, they may earn livelihood, that is a different thing. The third attribute, which is very important, is it is an occupation in which the amount of financial returns is not the accepted measure of success. Professional success is different. Earning money is different. A moneyed professional, a rich professional need not be a professionally successful professional. You have heard of the name of great Nani Palkiwala, who is called the Jewel of India, who argued the very famous case of Keshavananda Bharati and saved the Constitution of India for this nation through that evolution of basic structure doctrine. He was such a great scholar, excelled as an advocate, practiced more than 50 years. And when he was no more, at the end of his life, what he had accumulated was only 1 crore. And that also he had willed to some charitable hospital in Chennai. But he was a great, successful advocate. And his name is written with golden letters in the history of India and in the history of legal profession. He was not a moneyed advocate, he was not a rich advocate, but he was an advocate par excellence, and the whole country waits to see another advocates like Nani Palkiwala, a person of that ability and stature. So that is the third attribute which Justice Brandeis gives. It is an occupation in which the amount of financial returns is not the accepted measure of success. Our own father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji, has said about the lawyers like this when he was addressing a bar association in Sri Lanka. And he has said, the duty of lawyers is always to place facts before the judges and help them to arrive at a truth. Truth determination is the primary object of administration of justice. It is up to you to maintain the dignity of your profession. You young men claiming to be the fathers of tomorrow should be the salt of the nation. If the salt was to lose its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? Is the expression about profession by Mahatma Gandhi. And our famous judge, Justice V.R. Krishnaiyer, in one of the very famous cases, Dhavolkar's case, he writes about a profession, law profession like this. It is very poetic and rhythmic. He writes, the bar is not a private guild like that of barbers, butchers, and candlestick makers, but by bold contrast, a public institution committed to public justice and pro bono publico service. If these are the high expectations of what is described as a noble profession, its members must set an example of conduct worthy of emulation. When we speak of lawyer's profession, advocacy, bar, it is bar association. Association of advocates is known as bar. Justice Krishnaiyer says, bar is not a private guild like that of barbers, butchers, and candlestick makers. These are all the business people. These are all the people involved in certain of the other avocations which are not knowledge-based avocations. They may form guilds, associations, and they may prescribe a price. They may exploit their customers. But bar is not like that. It is not a private guild like that of barbers, butchers, and candlestick makers. But by bold contrast, a public institution committed to public justice and pro bono publico service, public service, is the essence And these are the high expectations of a noble profession, and its members must set an example of conduct which is worthy of emulation. That's what Justice Krishna says. So, when you have taken up study of law, you should know what is the nobility of the profession which you are going to join, and you should imbibe those values, standards, principles, and first acquire that knowledge, tremendous knowledge, which will put you in the right place in the professional field. But all is not well, as all is not well with other professions, all is not well with law profession also. There are satires. Doctors do not write, doctors scribble. They scribble. And what a doctor has written, it is very difficult for us to understand. There was a contest between a doctor and a lawyer. Doctor was boasting, what we write, nobody can understand. Then the lawyer said, we write, print, publish, and circulate. Even after that, nobody understands. So liars use a language which common man will not understand. Doctors scribble something which common man will not understand. Things like this made Dean Swift, the author of Gulliver's Travels, to make a sarcastic statement about the professions. He writes like this: they were a society of men bred up from their youth in the art of proving by words, multiplied for the purpose that white is black and black is white, according as they are paid. If you pay them well, they will become a sort of hired guns. They will fire for any person who can hire their services. And Bernard Shaw, in one of his writings, says, all professions are conspiracies against layman, against laity. A layman cannot understand what a professional speaks. He gets totally hijacked because of this professional language. These are the satirical attributes about. But these satirical attributes cannot deprive a profession of its noble character, and professions remain to be noble. And especially when it comes to the point of law profession, we say law profession is a center stage profession. Compare what the lawyer does to what a doctor does. Famous surgeon, if he has to use his knowledge, exhibit his skills, he has to exhibit his skills in the operation theater. He has to take off his suit, put on what is known as scrub, those uniforms with the doctors wear when they enter the operation theater, that a sort of half jabba and pajama like thing, it is called scrub. So even apron also is not there. Everything is taken, and in that simple dress, he walks into the operation theater, and there he exhibits his knowledge and skill. He saves lives. The outside world will not come to know what great service this professional doctor has done. But lawyer's profession is something different. He puts on his coat and comes out. These are the open courts. So lawyer always performs on the center stage in the glare of society, in the glare of public. That's why we say law profession is the center stage profession. We are the performers. We are the performers. When we are the performers who perform in the public gauge, in the glitter of right, when media focus is there, public attention is there, we should be conscious of this fact. We should groom ourselves very well for this center stage profession, right from appearance, dressing, the body language, the movements, the preparation, the presentation, everything should have professional touch. A lawyer cannot behave like a commoner. A lawyer has to behave like a professional. He has to behave like a professional. So when you are there in the law school, in the law college, 3-year course or 5-year course, you should understand the relationship between what you are learning in the law college and what the lawyers perform in the public life. Look at the successful lawyers. and see what they do, how they behave, conduct, how they prepare, how they present, and what are you doing in the law school. You have to appreciate the relationship between what you are learning in the law college and what are the requirement of a successful lawyer. And one more thing wherein you can understand this in a powerful manner is read biographies and autobiographies of great lawyers and judges. All those great judges, at the beginning, they will be lawyers, both Indian and foreign. Then you will understand what are the requirements of great professionals. If I want to excel myself as a great professional, what are the requirements? And I have listed certain of these things here. What a practitioner needs is a grasp of general legal principles. What professional needs is a grasp of general legal principles, a sound knowledge of practice and procedure, an ability to argue, and a general knowledge of where to find the law he wants. We have 30,000 legislations in this country and truckloads of rules, regulations, which are in the form of subordinate legislations. And a lawyer cannot be master in all these things, but he should have an ability to find what is the law that he wants to read, cite, quote. So when you are passing through this journey of 3 years or 5 years program, you should develop this ability to find out the law which you want for your case, for your task, for your assignment. So a sound knowledge of practice, a grasp of general legal principles, a sound knowledge of procedure, ability to make submissions, and a general knowledge of where to find the law you want whenever the time permits. Straight go to library, go on seeing what are the veritable materials, sources that are there in your library. Pick up any volume, any book, and see what it is. It may be manual, it may be digest, it may be quinquennial digest, it may be a reference citation, it may be a reporter, it may be a textbook, it may be commentary, it may be a barrack, anything to anything. You should know what are the things that are there in your library and in other professional libraries. This is very, very essential. And this observation of your library over a period of 3 or 5 years will introduce you in a powerful manner to the materials with which a lawyer has to deal with and a lawyer will be dealing with. We say legal education is essentially self education. The university has chosen some subjects as per the requirement of the bar council, and these are the prescribed subjects. And you want to learn something more, sky is not the limit. There is no boundary. You can learn whatever you want apart from this minimum that is prescribed. So we say legal education is essentially self education. You should proceed, go on and on learning. Okay, every subject need not be taught. You should adopt Ekalavya style. You should proceed to learn more things. So there is a very famous statement: observation more than books, experience rather than persons are the prime educators. Be a great observer. You will be going for internships in every vacation to different law offices, lawyers' chambers, law secretariat, corporate sector. Be a great observer. That will give you more experience. And you should be in a position to acquire abilities to provide competitive legal services when you go out of the law college and enroll yourself as advocates or take up the job of a law professional, maybe in the form of advocates, academics, legislators, judges, policymakers, public officials, social activists, politicians, in whatever. If you are a lawman who is well groomed, you will make difference and you will occupy the center stage and you will be given that lead that is necessary to perform in all walks of life. And you should enable yourself to meet the challenges of this contemporary world which is highly competitive. So for that reason, you should understand why you are learning law. Maybe after 1 or 2 years, you will be in a position to specialize, think in terms of which area you will specialize, groom yourself well, and which type of choice you are going to make. Whether you want to be an academician, whether you want to be a litigating lawyer, whether you want to be a corporate employee, or whatever, then you will be focusing on those particular areas. What a lawyer is required to do as a professional, as a student of law, I should understand the relationship between what I am learning and what are the requirements of a successful lawyer. First necessary thing is I should have the knowledge of the source of law, statute law. I should be introducing myself to the gadgets, manuals, acts, different types of journals, periodicals like current central legislation, current Indian statutes, etc., which inform, which publish the laws that are passed periodically at the national and state levels, the rules, regulations that are notified periodically. I should also understand the hierarchy, the organization of the government. So, what are the laws that govern the internal procedure of the departments, how the hierarchy is organized, and from where, who is the reporting authority to whom, etc. These niceties I have to understand. Case law, I have to understand various ways in which case law is reported. I have to understand. I have to introduce myself to all types of sources, reports of the commissions, committees, constituent assembly debates, parliamentary debates, and nowadays you have policy documents, the encyclopedias, professional dictionaries, dictionary of phrase and fables, maxims, okay, reference citators, and in the present day world, you should introduce yourself to the databases. There are certain of the free websites, certain of the paid websites. Definitely, the college should have subscribed to certain of the online databases. You have to introduce yourself thoroughly well to all these sources, and once you know the sources, once you have the knowledge and understanding of the sources, both physical and online, as and when the need arises, necessity arises, you can proceed and you can make use of these sources. Without knowing the sources, it becomes very difficult to excel in uh, professionals. Okay, so when you are involved in a self-education exercise, teachers are there to guide, but you are the primary factors. You should be like a self-guided missile. You should know your target and you should know how to navigate yourself through this period of 3 or 5 years. You should work like a lawyer before becoming a lawyer. You should identify the tasks of a lawyer, and these tasks you have to try to perform during the course of LLB itself. You should know the history of legal profession. You should have the skills of research. You should have the skills of learning. You should learn interviewing skills, counseling skills, negotiation, mediation, etc. All these professional exercise involves skills. And initially, I was saying profession is a knowledge-based activity, and skills are the tools wherein you can apply that knowledge. The translation of knowledge into action requires skills. So, if I have appropriate skills, I will be in a position to translate my knowledge into action. And this you can learn by simulation exercises, which take different forms of mood codes, etc. So, what a law student should do is he should learn about the tool, he should discuss the tool with the teacher, and immediately after the discussion, go to the library and see the things in actuality. So you ask your teacher, sir, how to search for a law, how to search for a notification. He explains. After that, immediately go to library and try to do that. That's how you will learn. You will learn how to research. See, what a law student requires is powerful analytical skills. And these analytical skills sharpen as you go on using those skills. So if you do not use these skills, they will be getting blunted. If you keep on using these skills, they will get sharpened. They will get sharpened. For this purpose, you have to always keep on polishing these skills. Reading is a skill, communication is a skill, submission is a skill, writing is a skill. And what one very important uh, requirement of a law student is analytical skills. You should develop powerful analytical ability. As you read a sentence, you should be in a position to form different permutations and combinations of what you are reading. And you should be in a position to make a controlled delivery. When I teach my first LLB students, I tell them in a humorous way like this. When somebody says, what do you mean? The answer should be, I mean what I say. I am a law student. I am a lawyer. I know the true comport of each word that I am using. I know what to communicate. If I have said something, I mean it. What do you mean? I mean what I say. I am a lawyer. I am trained how to use language, how to go for a controlled delivery. I convey exactly what is to be conveyed, both in verbal language and also in writing. Professionals involved in a lot of writing documents, opinions, case briefs, drafting of pleadings, all those things. So here in these writing abilities, writing skills are necessary. So what is in the lawyer's profession is a symbiotic combination of reading and writing operations, and we should be good in both writing operations and also reading operations. The process of legal writing is basically 85% of analysis and 15% of composition. So, if you have developed powerful analytical skills, any document that you have to write, first you will form that document in your brain using your analytical abilities. And once you have conceived the blueprint in your mind, what remains is reducing it into writing. And for that, only 50% of the energy is required. That's how it is presented. So what happens in your stay in the law college is, whether it is 3 years or 5 years, these 3 years or 5 years should be a sort of training for lifelong education in the field of law. So what you learn now, that using those skills which are imbued to you during this period of your course, the same thing should continue at least for 10 years, even after your studies, so that you will become a mighty professional. And as I was telling you, practice is more important. Okay, there is a Chinese proverb: I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. So if I only hear, I may forget that. Instead of only hearing, I should hear and see how the professionals perform. If I see, I remember. If I join them and do those exercises, I understand. So that is the best way in which a law student has to proceed. And if you have to groom yourself, the most basic requirement is discipline. There is a saying, discipline in small things is not a small thing. And all those great professionals, they are great because of the discipline that they have cultivated and they have practiced over a period of years. And you will never come across a person who is highly successful who is not disciplined. They are all highly disciplined and organized. That's why they are successful. Whether they are law teachers, whether they are judges, whether they are uh, advocates, whether they are corporate advocates, whoever it is. So discipline is very important. And there is something to learn from everyone. There is something to learn from everyone. I should be a best student. How I can be a best student? I can be a best student by being disciplined, regular, punctual, and the most basic requirement is respecting my teachers. And if you do not have respect towards teachers, your learning will be affected. Keep this in mind. Teachers will be of different types, different looks, different languages, different accents, different castes. Don't allow any prejudice to enter your learning process. Respect everyone. If there is a human being is to be respected. When we are respecting animals, why not human beings? Don't develop aversion towards any teachers. Be good. Being good, you will learn a lot. Okay, be disciplined, respect your teachers, and use your library to the maximum extent. Library should be the center of activity, and don't indulge in any activities that will deter your learning, that will say interfere in the process of learning. These 3 years or 5 years are going to be very, very precious. When I joined a program, one of my teachers, a great teacher, he, the open hands, he said, give me your time. I will see that you will go out as a transformed human being. Well, then I just thought about what is that he is asking. He says, you give me your 3 years. You give me your 5 years. And I will see that you will go out of the portals of this institution as a transformed person transformed for better. Why not do that? I tell you, being in the first year is the most advantageous position. You ask your friends who are in the final year. Some of them may say, look, we did not use that time that was available in a proper manner. At least you make better use of the time that is available. So before it is start, launch yourself. A law student will not start. A law student will launch. Okay, you launch yourself in this professional education and do well in your studies. Be in touch with great teachers, be in touch with great professionals, and you have to excel in such a manner that your college should be proud of you, your parents should be proud of you, your village, your town, your people should be proud of you. So that type of excelling is what is expected. I compliment all of you for having taken a conscious decision of joining this law program. If it is money, you will be sitting on mountains of money. If it is fame, you will be at the pinnacle of fame. Everything is available, but only thing is people do not know that law as a career option is the best option, and you have chosen this best option. I compliment you for that decision, and I compliment your parents also who have allowed you to take up this professional legal education. Compliments to you, and I wish you the very best during the period of your legal education and beyond that, even in your life also. God bless you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.